The crisis of security at our southern border is real. Over the past year, Customs and Border Protection's records of apprehensions and interdictions at our southern border are literally, Mr. President, staggering. 800 known gang members, a 50% increase over last year. Nearly 7,000 individuals with criminal histories, including weapons trafficking and violent offenses. More than double the levels of fentanyl, along with other illicit substances. So one would think that securing our homeland, controlling our borders, and protecting the American people would be bipartisan priorities, uncontroversial. And here's the interesting thing. Until very, very recently, Mr. President, that seemed to be the case. Back in 2006, Democrats were perfectly happy to support hundreds of miles of physical barriers along the border. 26 Democrats voted for the bill, including then-Senator Obama, then-Senator Clinton, and my good friend, the current Democratic leader from New York. But what about more recently? Earlier this year, Mr. President, the Democratic leader offered $25 billion for physical barriers in his negotiations with the president, 5 times as much as the White House is reasonably requesting right now. And that was just earlier this year. This time, Democrats have rejected that reasonable request. They've refused to meet President Trump halfway and provide even one-fifth of the resources for the border they were willing to provide just a few months ago. There's no bright line of principle that separates hundreds of miles of physical barriers in 2006 from new physical barriers in 2018. There is no major philosophical shift that made $25 billion for border security worthwhile just a few months ago, but makes a far more modest investment of $5 billion immoral, and unacceptable today? No, Democrats haven't rejected the president's request and invited this partial government shutdown because of some principled objection that they just discovered in the last few weeks. It's not some principled discovery they've just made in the last few weeks. They brought this about because they're under a lot of pressure, we all know this, from their far left, and feel compelled to disagree with the president on almost anything, and certainly this.
President Trump, you will not get your wall. Abandon your shutdown strategy. You're not getting the wall today, next week, or on January 3rd when Democrats take control of the House. No Democrat has called for shutting the government down. We are all working to avoid it. The president seems to relish it. He seems to feel it'll throw a bone to his base. The problem being, his base is less than 1/4 of America. Mr. President, President Trump, you cannot erase months of video of you saying that you wanted a shutdown and that you wanted the responsibility and blame for a shutdown. President Trump, you own the shutdown.
I really think I can say border security, but certainly the wall. But the wall will get built. A lot of the wall is built. It's been very effective. I asked for a couple of notes on that. If you look at San Diego, illegal traffic dropped 92% once the wall was up. El Paso, illegal traffic dropped 72%, then ultimately 95% once the wall was up. In Tucson, Arizona, illegal traffic dropped 92%. Yuma, it dropped illegal traffic 95 to 96%. I mean, and that when I say dropped, the only reason we even have any percentage where people got through is because they walk and go around areas that aren't built. It dropped virtually 100% in the areas where the wall is. So, I mean, it's very effective. If you really want to find out how effective a wall is, just ask Israel. 99.9% effective. And our wall will be every bit as good as that, if not better. So we've done a lot of work on the wall. A lot of wall is built. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of wall is renovated. We have walls that were in very bad condition that are now in A1 tip-top shape. Frankly, some wall has been reinforced by our military. Our military has done a fantastic job. Nancy, would you like to say something?
Well, thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity to meet with you so that we can work together in a bipartisan way to meet the needs of the American people. I think the American people recognize that we must keep government open, that a shutdown is not worth anything, and that you should not have a Trump shutdown. You have the
Oh,
White House,
did you
the
say
Trump
Trump?
shutdown.
Oh.
You have the White House.
gonna call it
You
a
have the Senate. You have the House of Representatives. You have the votes. You should pass it
No, we
right
don't have
now.
the votes, Nancy, because in the Senate, we need 60
No,
votes.
no, but in the House.
And we don't
You
have.
could bring it up right now
Yeah, but I
today.
can't, excuse me, but I can't get it passed in the House if it's not going to pass in the Senate. I don't want to waste time.
Well, the fact is, you can get it started that way.
The
And-
House, we could get passed very easily,
Okay,
and we
then
do.
do it. Then
But
do
the
it.
problem is the Senate, because we need 10 Democrats to vote.
No,
and
no, that's
they-
not, but the fact is, the House Republicans could bring up this bill, if they had the votes, immediately, and set the tone for what you want.
If we thought we were going to get it passed in the Senate, Nancy, we would do it immediately. We'd get it passed very easily in the House.
Yeah, that's
We
not
would
the
get it, Nancy, I'd have it passed in 2 seconds. It doesn't matter, though, because we can't get it passed in the Senate because we need 10 Democrat votes.
Well,
That's the problem.
Again, let us have our conversation, and then we can meet with the press again. But the fact is that legislating, which is what we do.
Right.
You begin, you make your point, you state your case. That's what the House Republicans could do, if they had the votes. But there are no votes in the House, a majority of votes, for a wall, no matter where you start.
If I needed the votes for the wall in the House, I would have them in one session,
Well, then
would
go
be
do it.
done.
Go do it.
It doesn't help because we need 10 Democrats in
Now,
the
don't
Senate.
put it on the Senate, put it on the negotiation.
Okay, let me ask you this, and we're doing this in a very friendly manner. It doesn't help for me to take a vote in the House where I will win easily with the Republicans.
not win.
It doesn't help to take that vote because I'm not going to get the vote
Don't put
of
it
the
on
Senate. I need
Mr.
10
President.
senators. That's
Mr.
the problem.
President, you have the White House, you have the Senate.
I have the
you
White
have
House.
the
The
House
White
of
House is done.
Representatives.
And the House would give me the vote if I wanted it. But I can't because
you
I need,
can't-
Nancy, I
you
need 10
can't.
votes from Chuck.
No,
All right,
Mr.
let me say
President,
something.
let me just say one thing. The fact is, you do not have the votes in the House.
Nancy, I do. And we need
Well,
border
let's take the
security.
vote, we'll
Nancy,
find out.
Nancy, we need.
Ayes are 217 and the nays are 185. The motion is adopted without objection. A motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Border security. It's very simple.
Of course we do.
We need border
We
security.
do.
People are pouring into our country, including terrorists. We have terrorists. We caught 10 terrorists over the last very short period of time. 10. These are very serious people. Our border agents, all of our law enforcement has been incredible what they've done. But we caught 10 terrorists. These are people that were looking to do harm. We need the wall. We need, more important than anything, we need border security, of which the wall is just a piece. But it's important. Chuck, did you want to say something?
Here's what I want to say. We have a lot of disagreements here. The Washington Post today gave you a whole lot of Pinocchios because they say you constantly misstate how much the wall is built, how much of the wall is built, and how much is there. But that's not the point here. We have a disagreement about the wall,
Washington
whether
Post.
it's effective or not. Not on border security, but on the wall. We do not want to shut down the government. You have called 20 times to shut down the government. You say, I want to shut down the government. We don't. We want to come to an agreement. If we can't come to an agreement, we have solutions that will pass the House and Senate right now and will not shut down the government, and that's what we're urging you to do. Not threaten to shut down the government
you don't
because
wanna
let me
shut
just
down the
finish,
government,
because
Chuck.
you can't get
The
your way.
last time you shut it down, you got
let me
killed.
say something, Mr. President. You just say, my way or we'll shut down the government. We have a proposal that Democrats and Republicans will support to do a CR that will not shut down the government. We urge you to take
And
it.
if it's not good border security, I
It
won't
is
take
very
it.
good border
And if it's
security.
not good
That's
border
actually what the
security,
border
I won't
security
take it.
asked
It's
for.
what the
Because when
board,
you look at these numbers of the effectiveness of our border security, and when you look at the job that we're doing
you
with our
just said it is
military,
effective.
can I tell you something?
Yeah, you just said it's
Without a
effective.
wall, these are only areas where you have the walls.
wanna do
Where
this-
you have walls, Chuck, it's effective.
We-
Where you don't have
Wait a
walls,
sec.
it
Let's
is not
call a halt
effective.
to this.
Yeah.
Let's call a halt to this. We've come in here as the first branch of government, Article 1, the legislative branch. We're coming in good faith to negotiate with you about how we can keep the government open.
We're going to keep it open if we have border security. If we don't have border security, Chuck,
I'm with you.
we're not going to keep it open.
I'm with you. We are going to have border security.
And it's the same border,
Effective
you're
border
bragging about
security.
what has been done.
By us.
We want to do the same thing we did last year, this year. That's our proposal. If it's good then, it's good now, and it won't shut down the government.
Chuck, we can build a
But that's
much
it.
bigger
We have
section
Let's
with
debate-
more money.
let's
We have
debate in
taken
private.
this
Okay,
conversation
yeah,
to a
let's
place
debate in private.
That is devoid, frankly, of fact, and we can.
We need
dispel
border that. security, and I think we all agree that we need border security.
Yes,
Is
we
that right?
do.
Good. Drugs are pouring into our country. People with tremendous medical difficulty and medical problems are pouring in, and in In many cases, it's contagious. They're pouring into our country. We have to have border security. We have to have a wall as part of border security.
One thing I think we can agree on is we shouldn't shut down the government over a dispute. And you want to shut it down. You keep talking about it.
The last time, Chuck, you shut it down.
No.
And then you opened it up very quickly. And
20 times.
I don't want to do what you did.
20 times you have called for, I will shut down the government if I don't get my wall. None of us have said.
You want to know something?
You've said it.
Okay, you want to put that on my.
You've said it.
I'll take it.
Okay, good.
You know what I'll say? Yes. If we don't get what we want, one way or the other, whether it's through you, through a military, through anything you want to call, I will shut down the government.
Okay,
absolutely.
fair
And I am proud, and I'll tell you what, I am proud to shut down the government for border security, Chuck, because the people of this country don't want criminals and people that have lots of problems and drugs pouring into our country. So I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it. The last time you shut it down, it didn't work. I will take the mantle of shutting down. And I'm going to shut it down for border security.
But we believe you shouldn't shut it down.
Let's talk about what we can do right now to keep government open. There is strong bipartisan support to do that. The only obstacle is the President of the United States. We want to keep government open for what it means to America's working families across the kitchen table, especially in a holiday time, so that they have cash to do their Christmas shopping, but in some cases it's just a question of survival. So for the president to be cavalier about cash flow and paycheck-to-paycheck families, I pray that he will resist. And I did tell the president that I prayed for him. He said, "That's news, go tell the press." So I am.
The Democrats are absolute hypocrites. All along, they've been supporting walls and supporting fences and supporting all sorts of border security.
Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple.
I voted numerous times when I was a senator to spend money to build a barrier to try to prevent illegal immigrants from coming in.
We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked.
The fact is, they've always supported fences and walls and partitions, but you know what? They only don't want to do it because of me. They have to put the people ahead of politics. We need to have the wall. We need border security. Whatever it takes to get border security, I will do it. I pledged that a long time ago, and I will pledge it always. We've done a really fantastic job with what we have. We can do an almost perfect job if we have the wall and proper border security. And that's what we're going to do for the American people. Our great country must have border security. We don't want people coming in that aren't supposed to be here. We want people to come in through a legal process. It's very dangerous out there. Drugs are pouring in. Human trafficking, so many different problems, including gangs like MS-13. We don't want them in the United States. We don't want them in our country. The only thing that's going to stop that is great border security with a wall or a slat fence or whatever you want to call it. But we need a great barrier. And if we don't have it, it's never going to work. Last night, the House of Representatives passed this very important bill, 217 to 185. Some people were surprised by the number. I wasn't, because everybody wants to see our border protected. Now it's up to the Senate, and it's really up to the Democrats, because we need their votes. There's no way it can pass without their votes. We're going to have a shutdown. There's nothing we can do about that, because we need the Democrats to give us their votes. Call it a Democrat shutdown, call it whatever you want, but we need their help to get this approved. So Democrats, we have a wonderful list of things that we need to keep our country safe. Let's get out, let's work together, let's be bipartisan, and let's get it done. The shutdown hopefully will not last long. I'm fighting very hard for border security, so important. I've already started building the wall. We built large sections, and we're fixing up a lot of other sections that are a mess. But the fact is, we need the wall. The Democrats know it. Everybody knows it. It's only a game when they say you don't need the wall. You can look at their eyes and you can say, well, they're not telling the truth. They want to try and do anything possible to hurt us because of the fact it's politics. I understand that. I don't even hold it against them, except you should always put your country first. And they're not doing that. They're putting politics first. We have to build the wall. It will get built. We're going to complete it. A lot of progress has been made. Watch what happens.